Hey, shalom, shalom, mishpacha. Welcome to another edition of Ray Bash's Ramblings. I'm your host, Rabbi Yehuda Ben Shomer, and today I'm going to be delivering a very unpopular message. A message that many need to hear but don't want to hear. This could be one of those videos that I get a lot of negative responses from, but come what may. There are a lot of people out there in this world who have participated in certain activities in life, chose particular habits and vices and particular lifestyles, and as a result, they have cancer, they have liver disease, they have an STD, they have AIDS, they have some incurable disease, or maybe because of not having a proper diet, they contracted diabetes and have gone blind or have lost limbs, what have you. And let's say these people become believers, or these people are believers, and they ask God to forgive them for not taking care of themselves, and ask God to forgive them for, the way they've lived and the choices they've made, and then they ask God to heal them. Can God heal them? Yes, absolutely, not a shadow of doubt in my mind. God is a healing God. God is the great physician. God is still in the miracle working business. But the question of will He? That's a question I can't answer for the individual. Because I don't believe that it is God's will for every single sick person out there, especially those who have brought some sort of illness or disease or malady upon themselves by the choices they've made. I don't believe that it's God's will that everybody in that situation be delivered, be healed, and be restored. Can it happen? Can God do that? Yes, absolutely. Will He? I don't know. I can't answer that. But I think it's very... people's got a lot of nerve to approach God after, bringing such things upon themselves, and ask God to heal them. Now, God can forgive them. God will forgive them. Okay? That's a given. We all make mistakes. We all make poor choices. We realize that. We see the error of our ways, and then we repent. We turn around. But then to ask God to heal us, to ask God to restore us, that's a little bit audacious. Will He? I don't know. I can't answer that for each and every individual. But you know what? There's a thing that's called consequences. Just like every sin has a consequence that we have to pay for. Even if we ask God to forgive us of a particular sin, we nonetheless have to reap the repercussions of such sins. Same thing with lifestyle choices and habits and vices and things we do, whether it be illicit sex, whether it be drugs, whether it be alcohol, whether it be a homosexual lifestyle, what have you. Not taking care of yourself, not taking care of the temple that God has given you, whatever. And as a result, you have some malady or incurable disease. You brought it upon yourself. God can forgive you for what you've done to yourself. Can God reverse it? Yes, of course He can. But will He? I don't know. I don't think it's God's will for everybody to be healed of something that they've brought upon themselves. You have to live with the consequences of your own actions, things that you bring upon yourself. Now, there have been miraculous situations, and they have been few and far between, where somebody has had AIDS or some kind of incurable disease, and that they brought upon themselves because of a past sinful lifestyle, and God has forgiven them, delivered them, healed them, and restored them. But that is God's divine will for that particular individual's life. That's not saying that that's God's will for everybody's life that's in a similar situation. Like I said, we have to reap what we sow. If I get pulled over for speeding and say, "Oh, officer, please forgive me for speeding." Sure, I'll forgive you for speeding, but here's a ticket anyway. He's not going to take it. He's not going to not give me a ticket. He's not going to take a ticket away from me if I say that I'm sorry and ask for forgiveness, and I promise I'll never do it again. And maybe I don't do it afterwards, but I still have to pay the consequences of my crime. I still have to pay for what I've done. And sometimes we have to reap the consequences of the poor choices we make in our life. that bring us to an incurable disease or a malady or some kind of handicap in our life. But you know what? Accept it. Accept it and say, okay, God, I admit I deserve this. I brought it upon myself. Thank you for your forgiveness. God, what is your will for my life now? Since I'm in this state, I'm limited to what I could have done for you, but whatever I'm able to do for you, show me what I'm able to do for you. Help me to do it. Allow me to do it. May I do it for the honor and glory of your name. Maybe God's going to use you in your incurable state to help somebody else that is going down a similar road that you went, that brought you to that point. Say, hey, this is where I'm at. You don't want to end up where I'm at. Or maybe somebody has gotten this disease or this malady, and maybe they didn't bring it upon themselves. Maybe it just happened, and you can say, you know what, I'm there, and this is how I deal with it. This is how I cope with it. This is what the grace of God is all about. And I'm going to show you how He's helped me to live with this and help me to deal with this and cope with this. And then maybe you might be one of those select few that it is God's divine will that you be healed and restored. And you may be an ambassador of hope to other people. I don't know. But you know what? Don't count on it. Don't hedge your bets on that. Because even when Messiah himself walked this earth, he raised many from the dead. He healed many of sickness and diseases. He delivered many from demons. But you know what? For every one of those people that he touched, there was probably 100, maybe 1,000 more in the same situation. Even when Messiah walked this earth, he did not heal everybody. He did not raise everybody from the dead. Same situation now. God, it's not God's perfect divine will that everybody be healed, everybody be restored, despite and regardless what you hear from charismatic and Pentecostal TV evangelist healing ministry style Christianity. It's just not going to happen. You can't tell me that everybody who steps on Benny Hinn's stage or whoever's stage that's this faith healer gets healed. They don't. Oftentimes, news organizations follow up on such reported healings and discover that certain people were not, matter of fact, were not healed. Some of them were, and they have medical records to prove that they've been healed. That's great. But it's not going to happen to everybody, and it's not God's will for everybody. So don't you dare blame God, and don't you dare get mad at God if you pray and ask for a healing and He doesn't give it to you, because it may not be His will. Maybe you are reaping what you sowed. Am I saying don't pray for a miracle? No, but I'm just saying if a miracle doesn't happen, accept it. Don't get angry or bitter at God or blame God for it. Yes, expect and hope for the best and pray for the best, but if it doesn't happen, it may not be God's will, and don't blame God for it. The only people we have to blame for our sicknesses and our maladies are ourselves. Whether we brought it upon ourselves because of poor choices and poor lifestyle choices or activities, or because we just live in a fallen world and we're susceptible as fallen human beings and fallen, impure, imperfect human beings, and we just contract diseases and contract things, and bad things happen to us, and that's just the way it goes, But God said in Romans 8:28 that I've worked all things out together for the good for them that love God and are called according to His purpose. So no matter what situation you're in, physically, mentally, or spiritually, whether you perceive it as negative or not, God has provided a way to make your situation turn out for the best, to turn out for the good, if you will let Him, if you will accept your situation, and if you will let Him. I know that's a hard message, a hard pill to swallow. I may have punched some of you in the gut, and I'm sorry for that, but it's one of these messages that are necessary that people need to grasp in their mind, because if they don't, they have a danger of becoming bitter and turn against God because of something that they did that's not even God's fault. But like I said, can God heal somebody? Absolutely yes. I believe it. Will He? That's another question, and that's a question that I personally cannot answer for every individual. Shalom and Shavua Tov.